Hi, how are you? This is Sis Knox. Okay, we are quickly talking about sociable brain. What is that supposed to mean? It's linked to social intelligence. The notes that have been posted earlier on for you. Within those notes, one of the things you've learned is that there is a difference between social intelligence and emotional intelligence, though there isn't much elaboration on that. In simple terms, what you find within emotional intelligence is more on the self aspect. You can say that it is on one level, while when it comes to social intelligence, is more about what the social relations you are in engage with other people. Okay. So, social intelligence is more about you and other people more than one. Whereas when it comes to emotional intelligence, it's primarily about your emotions that you exert towards other people and how other people perceive those emotions. The social brain aspect is derived from the fact that we are people who cannot not connect. We are wired to connect. When we engage in interactions, there is a brain to brain linkage, which uses a neural bridge, and the neural bridge allows us to affect other people's brain and bodies. And they and them, when we interact with them, they also affect our own brains and bodies. And you can easily see this through, for instance, your close friends or those people that you spend more time with. Those are the people that are mostly affected by our brains as well as our bodies. Because, when it comes to interactions, while other people would think that it's just they take place through warm bodies when we are sitting next to each other or passing other people. No, it starts in the brain. When you see a one person smiling at you, you're going to look at them and they are most likely to smile as well. And on the other side, if, for instance, you go to the cafeteria, you find the cashier yelling at people, you are most likely to see some faces that are either fed up or perturbed at the cashier. And even without necessarily hearing their responses or what she is saying, the faces are enough to affect your own facial expressions, what you see in their own facial expressions. So primarily, our interactions and relationships affect our experience as well as our bodies, our biology, uh, through our bodies. You see, what you right now, what is in front of you is a project that was developed by Dr. McLean, a brain evolution and behavior project, where he looked at the brain of a human being. Let's look at the brain, the A, you see diagram A, that is the brain of the human being with the neocortex, which is more of a learning brain, while the other one you see over here is a limbic system. And McLean likened the limbic system to a mammal brain. You see it right there next to a human brain. And whereas the third one, the third part of the brain is likened to a reptile, which is called reptilian brain. So what happens exactly within our brains in connection with social interaction is that the the neocortex is where we find our higher thinking, the rationality. That is an area of the brain that controls our thoughts, our use of language, as well as reasoning, including the perceptions, how we see our stimuli, that is the stimuli in our surrounding. Whereas on the other side, when we look here, the limbic system, which is associated with the mammal brain, you see the orange part over there. That one is known as a feeling brain that controls our emotional responses to other emotional responses exerted towards us. And it is also about controlling our behaviors as well as learning and memory. So the reptile brain on the other side. It is more instinctual. It's about our body. It controls our body biological and physical functions, and that is right there. This is the reptilian aspect. You see what happens. Each and every human being has the left and the right side of the brain. The left side is a what, which is associated with rationality, with logic and analytical, abilities. This person who is dominant on the what side is more about the structure, about goals oriented, and more about language and specifications and so forth. Whereas the right hand person, somebody who is dominant on the right hand side, would be more creative, and from little things they see the bigger picture, and they can differentiate a big and small thing, and they can move with the flow, and quickly move and do some actions and all that. And they're also good with their body language, and so forth. So what actually this means is that none of these parts of the bodies are more important than the other. What this means is that if you are more dominant into extreme to the other, you need to look into your lifestyle, your chosen path of career, and determine what are the things that you need to enhance in order for your performance to be upgrade, to become better. You need to do there's a brain gym program that we have developed, which you will be taking part of. One of the things that we'll do, you'll have a test which helps you understand which part of your brain is much dominant. There are interesting things about this test, because some people who believe that they are more on the right hand side, they tend to be left, some of them. And those who strongly believe that they are logic and all that, they are the what, they tend to be actually on the creative side. I don't know, perhaps one would have suppressed himself, thinking that they have to be perceived as logic and analytical, whereas they could have been the big thing in life through their creativity. Nevertheless, even in engineering, creativity is required. You need to be able to move with the flow and easily adapt like the right pair. These are the things that one can learn over time. Here, we also see the top to bottom mode of performance. You see, the top side is on the thinking side, whereas the bottom part of the brain is on the feeler. You can see on the left-hand side, the cognitive thinker is always rational, always distance between emotion and reality, to such an extent that these are the people that can be considered to be out of touch with reality, because they always rationalize things and stuff like that. Whereas the thinkers, they can be more about empathy, feeling and putting themselves in the shoes of other people. And they don't always put analysis of things more than the feelings. And they are more about people. They are people-oriented in comparison to their counterparts. So when you look at this, you shouldn't just embrace being a thinker and all that. Look at some of the things that you don't necessarily have in your life and try to forge that balance, because we survive by a certain level of bilateral brain functioning. Okay, thank you. I hope that this is good for you. Enjoy the rest of your time.